just made a long video response to Andy. And yes, it's just so, there's just no way to argue with people who don't make arguments. They just keep making the same arguments over and over and over, and keep changing the subject, and keep paying attention to things that have nothing to do with the foundation of the subject. There's so many ways we could argue about how the world will change in the next 100 years. Writing some sort of rational equation. I've said before, over and over and over again, that it would be very hard to describe something that doesn't turn out rather dystopic, very opposite of ideal. There's this real problem of technology and the human tendency towards violence. That these two things will have catastrophic, I mean big time catastrophic, collisions in the future. 9/11 should have been a huge wake-up call to that reality. Our reaction shouldn't have been let's solve the problem with violence. Our reaction should have been, we've got to stop violence as a reaction, because this is it. This is what the future will look like if violence doesn't stop. And instead, we bloodthirstily lifted our clubs and went clubbing, and now we're doing it with drones. Try to draw a picture of the future where any nation with a couple of $1,000,000 can buy itself little malicious robots that'll go out and assassinate the enemy. What if those robots became nanobots, little cockroaches? I mean, come on. We're in big trouble, and people keep trying to throw the same stupid solutions at the problem. The bucket brigade isn't going to put a fire out at the Empire State Building. No, you've got to get with the program here. Wake up and smell the reality. So anyway, but so he's these people just keep arguing. First, they keep arguing this philosophy based on some sort of end game strategy, which again is so dependent on how the future goes, how the future turns, whether civilization survives. But certainly the idea that ideas can migrate through the human race is just so obvious. What, you're saying there's no way that you could ever convert Islam to rationality? That's like saying, well, Christians could never go from who they were in Europe to who they are now. They're a completely different animal. Now they're more concerned with fetuses than with plunder. But, that's maybe oil plunder. So it's changed what they're after. The gold has changed color from, gold to black. But, or the diamonds or the minerals, the things we're stealing in the world now. But these are so difficult to calculate, the turns and the twists. But the argument that's being made here is an argument about the meaning of our existence, and a simple question of ethical correctness, truth. And that's where that argument they can't win, so they run from it. And they run to some sort of question about a future, how this implementation thing, as if anything is going to be implemented in the future without price or cost. It's just it's so simplistic. I mean, the same argument could be used for any description he gives of the future. Predict me a future, and I will nitpick it. Predict one, and I will point out how it's totally unrealistic. All human beings will love each other. There. No, no. How do you get from here to there? How do you convert all the people to decency? I mean, I'm certainly a decent human being, regardless of what people will accuse me of. I commit no rapes or pillages. I steal not. I trespass not. So certainly a planet covered with Gary ideology, it will be no threat to the other Garys. you know, I'm certainly susceptible to a decent argument. I certainly will listen to an argument. I'm no threat. I'm not going to say there's dogma. God says so. I'm not going to pull nonsense like that. I have a 2,000-year-old book that says what the truth is. Certainly not going to do that. I'm going to oblige the other Garys if they have some sort of disagreement with me to make a rational argument. Yeah. And that's all I'm saying here is you're going to say antinatalism isn't the future. If you're going to say that some kind of more humble and respectful and cautious perception of what it is to be alive isn't going to dominate, well, I'm going to argue otherwise, and I'll explain why, just through the progression of human perception, how human beings, once they released themselves from the chains of Christianity and Mohammed, once they got free of the fake, the lie, I can't even say Jesus, right? Because Jesus was nothing like what the Christians believe him to be. I mean, the Christian Jesus is a lie, a preposterous perversion. And so who knows what the Muslims have done to Muhammad. But whatever, it's not my problem. But the point is we've been in those shackles for thousands of years. The human race hasn't been free to think. And so now we have the freedom to pick up the conversation where Plato and the rest of them stopped talking. And now we can talk about it and say, well, what is the nature of this thing? Now that we understand the biological origin, that it's a replicating molecule, making competitive machines that fight an endless war for a pointless victory, merely to say, I win, and then die. Fix that metaphor with some sort of other bit of evidence, bit of information. It's a solid metaphor, and it's something we have to account for. Just swimming, just to say we've always swum, we always swim, we just swim. You people are like fish. You have no brain. You just say we've always done it this way, we're going to keep doing it this way. Well, no, the world has changed. We understand the world differently. And now we know that these things are not what they appeared to be. There's not some game with intrinsic purpose and function. There's nothing beyond judgment in the structure or function of a DNA molecule. It's certainly within our capacity to judge its effectiveness, its efficiency, in its function, in its replication. We can establish through our own intellect an understanding of what function means, that something has to produce, and that the only production here is satisfaction of a mechanical process, is completion of a mechanical process, and that clearly human minds can be so possessed where they have no need for it. Again, I can make a simple efficiency argument for vegetarianism, that if you have a choice to press a button to create a new human being, and you were going to add ingredients to the character of that human being, why would you not make the individual a vegetarian? There's no reason not to, and every reason not to make it a meat eater. There's no productivity or efficiency in eating meat, even if you don't necessarily believe there's harm in slaughterhouses and in industrial farming of animals. Even if you're not sure of it, there should be enough, reasonable doubt in your brain to say, why mess with it if you don't need to go there? If the human being can be perfectly healthy and happy without it, why would I not create the human being without it? It's just logical. You think Mr. Spock, if he had the choice to make a meat eater or a vegetarian, would choose to make a meat eater? Hell no. There's no point in doing that. No point at all. No rational reason to create that burden, to create that potential jeopardy. And certainly if you're at all, in my opinion, fully rational and coherent, You understand that the sentience is harmed, that it is a terrible abomination, that meat is preposterously evil. And you would understand too that the waste of resources, that you spend 70 times the amount of energy to produce your pound of meat than to produce a pound of grain, or sufficient calories. Let's go by calories. 70 times to produce 1,000 calories of food value. So it's a huge waste of resources alone. So yeah, there's no logic, no reason to press the wrong button to make the carnivore when you can make the vegetarian. And likewise, I will argue this idea of to make human beings void of any urgent necessity to mimeograph themselves, to create copies of themselves, to natal. It's likewise just another one of these psychological phenomenons of taste, of personal preference. I have no such personal preference. It never manifested in me any urgent need to create a child that I'd be responsible for, that I'd have to worry about every second of every day. I saw no purpose in it. I feel no purpose. If I was going to make a copy of a human, if I was going to make a human being, why would I make him obsessed with genetic, nepotistic, egocentric, selfish nonsense? Why would I give him that attribute? Why would I say, yes, I'm going to make somebody who wants to have kids, wants to essentially degrade the function of their life? Why? Why would I do that? I would have no reason to create such a beast that has to or needs to replicate. So again, let's take the question to where it should be, as a rational question. Let us take it away from nature. Let's get away from this argument that I have a right because I can make a fist, I have a right to throw a fist, because I can get a hard on, I have a right to shove it in a woman, whether she likes it or not. Let's get away from this argument from nature because it's bogus. And let's say you had authority, power, by whatever function, and it was just about pressing a button. You initiate a life by pressing a button, by configuring 50 elements of identity, which the baby will have. You acknowledge the risk factors. Let's have another panel that says you realize that when you press this button, you will have a 1 in 1,000 chance of this disability, that there will be a 1 in 500 chance of this disability, that this disability is only a 1 in 2 million chance, but holy shit, if that happens, you're going to feel like one big fucking asshole. So yeah, let them understand the risk they're imposing, have it written on a panel there, and let them press these buttons and create this human being that will be injected into this very, very tedious, uncertain future world where it is very likely this last generation will watch it burn, will watch their loved ones burn. This is the gift you're giving them. So here's this machine. It will produce this being and pop it out. Let's say fully maturated at 18 with a full set of childhood memories based on the random bad or good luck. Are you playing with this machine? Is this something a rational being does? It walks up to this machine and says, I'm going to play here, right? The jeopardy is all on it. It's all on this thing you're going to create, this monster, potentially. Why? Why would a rational being do that? Answer me that question. Why would a rational, sensible human, fully knowledgeable of risk and danger and threat, why would he play with that machine? Why? Why? So again, now we've taken out your nepotism. We've taken out your rule of nature. Your, oh, nature compels me. The DNA molecule keeps whispering in my ear. We've taken away your excuses, so you have none. What's your excuse now? When it's simply a decision you make, calculating the risk to the person at jeopardy. Your perception that, oh, I sure hope he comes out retarded and a balloon chaser, because then he'll be happy. Is that going to be your calculation? Would you wish upon him a high intelligence so he could be aware of the mediocrity, the mediocre, the dismal, the pitiful state of the human condition, of the sentient condition on this planet? Would you want him to be aware, to understand, to feel that empathy and that pain? And you would press that button and say, yes, make me one of those. No, I don't think so. But who knows? You people are sadistic lunatics. It's clear. So maybe you would do it just out of spite. Just to spite the anti-natalists. You'd walk up to the machine and throw somebody else in the goddamn blender just out of spite, because you're that petty. That's your character, you weasels. Yeah, you do suck. That's all that can be said. The stench of you. Amazing. Yeah. Alright, it's kind of a hostile video, yeah? Maybe I think I'll go for a longer walk. How about that? I think I'll run, actually. So, we'll call it enough of a video. But man, this is so disappointing, like I said, for people to sit there and talk as if it is not rational to be startled by the magnitude of what it is to create a sentient existence, to be responsible for its existence, for everything it will endure, to not be completely meekified, humbled by the magnitude of that responsibility. To talk so arrogantly and gleefully about the risk and the jeopardy. I have nothing good to say of your character. Nothing good can be said of your character. I mean, you can't get lower than to, in a sense, mock that seriousness. It's like making Fukushima jokes. What the fuck are you made out of? Really? I mean, jokes that have no political point to them. Certainly humor is a weapon in satire, but I just mean the gratuitous jokes. You know, the little green gooks kind of jokes. Well, whatever. Deplorable, disgusting, and yeah, you people suck. Now it's enough of a video. Got the you people suck in there. That's always important.